gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hello everyone, happy Sunday. It's me again, and this week we've just been discussing hold on. So if you haven't checked out my Instagram, it's Annabelle Talks, and each week and also my previous video, I explain this, but each week I am changing the topic, and this all relates to my book. So again, You Are You by Annabelle Lucy is available on Amazon, or you can just click the link in my bio, and all the descriptions and everything are there over on my Instagram. And I will turn my phone on silent, sorry about that. So yes, anyway, this week we've been discussing PMS, which is premenstrual syndrome, and this can affect us, well, any of us, girls obviously, those that go through all the hormonal changes and your periods, and this will be up to 2 weeks before your period. So unfortunately, it is not just once a month for max of around a week that we will experience pain, discomfort, emotions changing and all of that. It unfortunately can be up to 2 weeks before that, and you may experience various symptoms throughout the whole entire month as well. It completely depends on your body. We are all different, and that is what I'm trying to get across to everybody, because there is no point comparing yourself to anybody else. If your friend has sore boobs, or your friend has bad period pain, or they get pain when they're ovulating, and you have no idea when you're even ovulating because you don't experience the pain, why does it matter? We are all unique, and you are you. And I love bringing that out because that is the title of my book, but I just have to say it, and that is exactly why I decided to. I don't want to see that light just here. That was really weird, creepy, ghosts in my house. And yeah, so we are all very, very different, and that is just life. So what you will experience, or what your friends experience, will most likely be very different. Anyway, I've written notes just so that I can remind myself again. But so yeah, it depends completely on your own body, your genetics, your hormones. It all combines into what you will then experience each month and as each week goes by. Your lifestyle choices, as well as your hormones and your genetics, your lifestyle choices will most likely massively affect your symptoms throughout the month. I find that if I exercise and I eat a healthier, balanced diet, that even if it's just a week or two before my period, that my periods are naturally then going to be better and less painful. I don't know if that's just completely just in my head, or if it's actually a thing, but I have also Googled it, and it is known that if you change your lifestyle to be better, obviously healthier, exercise more, eat better, less junk food, healthier, just fruit and veg, you will actually help your body in the long run. I mean, we know that generally, but with your periods and your just all the PMS symptoms and everything, it does make a difference. So perhaps if you are struggling, look into where you might be going wrong. Anyway, enough about that, because I feel like I'm just rambling on. You may also experience headaches and migraines as part of your PMS symptoms. This is completely normal because, as I said, the light is back. Is it my phone reflecting? I don't know. Weird. Due to your hormones changing, you may experience headaches and migraines throughout the month. You may, like me, know exactly when that would happen if it does happen. So mine tend to be, I'm prone to headaches anyway, but I tend to get them more often, and they seem to be worse and more sort of migraines rather than headaches around my period. So a couple of days before, a couple of days after my period, all sort of around that bracket. And I noticed that if I don't get my menstrual cramps are not really bad during my actual period, I noticed that it's one or the other. I either get headaches on my period or around it, but I will get them on my period if my cramps are not. So I'm like, oh yes, no cramps. Oh no, my head. So it's just one or the other. But you may be exactly the same, or you may never get headaches and just have them randomly because you've not drunk enough, or you've, I don't know, listened to music too loudly or something just minor like that. So you're one of the lucky ones if you don't, because migraines are horrible. I've been sick through because of migraines numerous times and just need to be in a pitch black room and just not do anything, which is really hard when you have stuff to do with your daily life. I would suggest drinking plenty of water if you do suffer from headaches. I find that I am often getting headaches because I'm dehydrated, and it's definitely my phone. You can see the light. So annoying. And yeah, so drinking plenty of water. I've also read up that grape juice is a really good thing for headaches. So if you want to try that, go for it. I haven't actually tried that yet, so I can't actually give you a yes or no, it works. Vitamins though, I currently have a load of different types of Baroccas and different vitamins here and hair stuff, and yeah, I love my vitamins. I love the taste of a Barocca. Some people hate them, but I also find that they really give me that boost, especially if I have it first thing in the morning. And yeah, they can also help with headaches because they balance out whatever you're missing. So water is key. Another thing you might experience is a sore boobs, and I don't really get this. Perhaps maybe around my period sometimes I'd be like, oh, actually, it hurts a little bit, but nothing major. It's not been anything that I've ever really experienced, but I know those from speaking with friends, those that actually do get it quite badly, and it will stop them exercising, for example, because if you're jumping about, it obviously is going to make it more painful. But I would just use that as an excuse not to exercise. Obviously, if you get it like all the time, then, you've got to work out other ways that can help you, perhaps painkillers, but then you just don't want to take painkillers all the time, do you? So perhaps just speaking to your doctor, seeing if there's anything that you can do, because I can't really advise on that because I don't experience it myself. Spots, again, like I've said in my previous video, is something that I've never suffered from. So again, I can't talk about that, but your GP will be able to advise you, friends perhaps, because sometimes I know doctors that, they're great and they're very knowledgeable and they know exactly what they're talking about, but actually unless they haven't been through what you're discussing themselves, perhaps sometimes I do find that friends can actually offer better advice depending on what it is, obviously, because you don't want to just take up your friend's advice and not visit the doctor if it's something more serious. But something like spots, if your friend says, oh, I use this and it's incredible and it's really helped me and I've suffered with acne for years, and suddenly it's like, boom, out overnight, it's gone. So yeah, worth talking to friends as well if you feel comfortable talking about it, depending on what your symptom is, and seeing what they do to help themselves, and what's worked for them may then work for you. Not saying it will, but it's worth a try, is it not? Another thing, cravings. I don't really experience cravings apart from chocolate. The week of my period, or a few days sort of before my period, the week before my period, I eat a lot generally, and I know that my period is then due the following week because my appetite goes from like normal to not a lot to so wanting every single, like me being in a food shop is not a good idea the week before my period, because one, I will want to buy everything, and two, that is when I get a chocolate craving. So I'm not really a chocolate person at all. I love my crisps and dip and hummus and things like that. I'm very much that sort of, that's what I love to eat as my go-to favourite snacks. And yeah, so when I'm craving chocolate, I know that my period is on its way. Bowel changes. So this is fun or not. Some of you may not even be like, oh, what's she talking about when I say this, but I'm quite often constipated the week before my period, and that is totally normal, and then get the opposite for the first couple of days of my period. It's as if it's all like, you know, coming out in one go after nothing for a week, pretty much. And that is normal. It's actually known, and if you've read my Instagram post from this week, it's known as period poo, which I found quite funny when I read that it was actually, you know, they've given it like a kind of name. But it is normal, and unfortunately that is just the way of life, that sometimes cramps can force that. It's just kind of like, you know, mini contractions. It's like when someone has a baby, quite often that will come out as well. So it's just your muscles contracting with each other when you get period cramps, and quite often it helps with bowel movements as well. But it does then also mean you can often be constipated for a few days or a week or so before your period. But I wouldn't say it's anything to worry about. You can perhaps for the week before maybe take something to help you go if you need to, but I've never really done anything about it, to be honest. I'm just like, well, it's just how my body is and what happens. So yeah, bloating is another one. I am very bloated the week, and especially a few days leading up to my period. I'm like, why is my stomach literally like solid and just like as if I'm kind of, you know, pregnant looking like it? And that is just what happens. And again, another thing that I've never been to the doctors about, because I don't feel like, you know, bloating is just normal. That we're just being a girl, that's what happens. But it's just more prominent around that time for me anyway. So I always know that, again, my period is due if I'm really bloated and I suddenly feel like, oh, my jeans feel a bit tighter today, and you just have to go with it. Just put some joggers on instead. Honestly, that's what I do. And the final thing that I've written down, and I've spoken about this week as well, is your emotions. So I can go, honestly, from 1 minute to the next, within a space of, a couple of minutes, from crying to being overly happy. And there is just sometimes nothing in between. I think I'm just like that as generally, you know, as a person. My hormones are kind of all over the place, but my periods being as bad as they are, I don't feel that helps. And it's something that I've been trying to work on, that when I do have the sort of my low times, I then will look at, you know, how can I help myself with that, and writing down the things that I'm grateful for that day, or arranging to meet a friend for lunch or dinner, or getting out the house for a walk, just doing the little things that you can think like, well, actually, I mean, yesterday I didn't feel too great, so like mentally. And so I decided to do a load of housework, and I hate housework, but it actually made me feel great, because, you know, a tidy house, tidy mind, whatever that phrase is. And it's so true. Just try and work on the little things in life that can just bring that, you know, that smile back into your life. It's okay to not be okay. And that is one of the main things that I've said in my book, that don't say, I've had people recently being like, oh, I really could just cry. And I'm like, why don't you? Like, it's not a weakness. And that is something that I've only really realized recently. But if you feel like crying, cry, let it out, because keeping that in is only doing more harm than good. You just need to feel how you want to feel. I've said this so many times, and I feel like sometimes I'm just repeating myself, but I need to just get that across to you all. And you are you. Again, my book title, I'm sorry, but it's so true. It's just a phrase that I always use, so that hence the title of the book, but I can't now stop saying it. But you are you, and we are all different. Like, I don't even know what else to say, but our emotions, just let your emotions out. And if a couple of days before your period, you know that you're always quite emotional, and you can go from one scale to another, allow it, and just say, you know, it's my period. And because if you're, I feel like I'm just rambling on now, but I think that, yeah, I'm just rambling on. Let's just not carry on with that. You guys know emotions and, you know. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Sorry about the ending, and I hope to see you over on my Instagram. Please do feel free to comment your stories, your advice, because honestly it really helps, and I know it's making that step because I feel that massively with putting myself out there with my book. But even if you were to just drop a comment or just even send me a DM, and it's just getting it out, letting it out for yourself. There will be weeks where I talk about trauma, where I talk about anxiety, depression, everything that I cover with my book. We're changing topics weekly over on my Instagram. So whatever, if you've got a copy of my book, you'll see the order that I'm doing it in, because I'm literally starting from the top and going through my contents page in my book. So, you know, come back and comment when it's a topic of interest or a topic that you're perhaps struggling with and you want to see what other people are saying or what I'm saying about it, because I am writing different things. I'm using quotes from my book. That's what my Instagram is for, but quoting my book, but what I'm writing in the description isn't coming from my book. That's just coming from my heart at the time of writing it. So it will be different to my book. So if you've read my book but you want to find out more, feel free to message me. And yeah, I'm going to stop rambling on. But I hope you've had a lovely weekend and you have a lovely Sunday, and just go for it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Bye.